Around the convergence of four different regions of England is the county of Northamptonshire, a county whose lack of fame is frankly baffling considering that it boasts some of the finest stonemasonry in the country, giving the Cotswolds more than a run for its money. But what are its prettiest towns? To establish this, I visited them all personally, and my conclusions are presented to you in this top 10 list. As per the rules of this series, villages are not included for consideration as there are just too many of them. Cities are included though, but to date no towns in the county have been given the royal upgrade, making that one a moot point. So let's get straight to it. Number 10. We start off with a town whose obscure claim to fame comes courtesy of a group of disgruntled cobblers. Or is that cordwainers? Either way, the town is Raunds. In common with many of the towns of Northamptonshire, Raunds once had a thriving shoemaking industry. In 1905, a group of over 100 army bootmakers marched from here to London to protest their working conditions following a downturn in demand in the aftermath of the Second Boer War. The town also features this perfectly normal street name. In all honesty though, this isn't a world-beating town in the looks department, but garners a spot mainly due to a lack of any major 20th century monstrosities, and sets the pace for this particular county list, which in terms of aesthetics goes from 0 to 60, similar to something you might see on the Silverstone circuit, but enough foreshadowing for now. Number 9. Next is another erstwhile giant of the shoemaking industry, the town of Rushden. At its peak, around 100 boot and shoemaking factories operated in Rushden. Very little of the industry remains today, save for one holdout, namely Sanders and Sanders, who still ply their cordwaining craft in the town to this day. Rushden's high street resembles one you might see in a typical railway town, but with one key distinction: there's no railway station. The town's former station served its final passengers in 1959, even before Richard Beeching could get his axe out, leaving over 30,000 residents of the town today dependent on buses or cars. However, a much more shocking transport-related revelation awaits at the end of this video. Number 8. Now to a town whose main claim to fame is Weetabix, Burton Latimer. This is a town situated a convenient distance from Kettering to the north and Wellingborough to the south for commuting purposes, but with a small town charm that's lacking in the two aforementioned. A few buildings showcase the distinct style of stonework that appears to be indigenous to Northamptonshire, while the parish church of St Mary is one of many religious edifices in the county sporting a grand spire, which will soon become apparent. It's not without its flaws, granted, but all in all, a rather visually pleasant town centre for this behemoth of the breakfast cereal industry. Number 7. Next up, a town with something macabre lying quite literally beneath its very surface: Rothwell. This small town of just over 8,000 residents was once one of the county's largest, a fact which underpins its vast history. At its heart is the Church of Holy Trinity, dating back to the 12th century. Beneath the church is one of only 2 ossuaries, or bone crypts, in England, the other being in Hythe in Kent. So for a small fee, you can marvel at the skeletal remains of thousands of long since deceased individuals. Or if you're not in the mood for paying homage to the Reaper just yet, you can check out Market Hill, where you'll find an architectural standout in the form of Rothwell Market House, dating from the middle of the Elizabethan era. Either way, this compact historic market town has an undeniably elegant look to it, make no bones about it, so to speak. Number 6. Here's the first of 2 entries for the Roman road enthusiasts out there, the town of Daventry. Situated just slightly west of Watling Street, the Roman road running from the coast of Kent to Wroxeter in Shropshire, it's this road, or rather its turnpiked upgrade from the Stuart era, that accounts for Daventry's historic coaching in trade. And with a high street so generously scattered with listed buildings, you can almost forgive the not pictured perfunctory outdoor shopping centre cum car park cum bus station just behind it. The town also boasts a unique looking parish church on account of it dating from the 1750s, namely the Church of the Holy Cross. Number 5. Now we have the next door neighbour to our earlier number 9 entry of Rushden, Higham Ferrers. While it's less than a mile which separates these two town centres, the aesthetic shift is tangible. The dominant building material moves away from Victorian and Edwardian brick and into Georgian coursed limestone, and naturally, the stunning parish church is par for the course at this point. The church in question here dates from the 13th century and is dedicated to St Mary. Its spire, rebuilt in the 17th century, can be seen all the way from the other neighbouring town of Irthlingborough, which, by the way, narrowly missed out on a spot on this list, in case anyone's wondering. Then there's Chichele College, founded in 1422 as a college for secular canons, giving an additional medieval flavour to this medieval market town. Number 4. Now, if this list were about greatest town names in Northamptonshire, this one would win hands down. I'm speaking, of course, of Towcester. In common with Daventry, seen earlier, Towcester's history ties in with the Roman road known as Watling Street, but unlike Daventry, this street dissects the town centre itself. Towcester's lack of a bypass, in terms of the A5, feels like a deliberate decision to preserve its history, from its Roman days when it was known as Lactodurum, through to the golden era of the stagecoach in Georgian times, when a major road through a town was seen as an advantage rather than a detriment. Some of the architectural highlights include the medieval Church of St Lawrence and the Italianate-style town hall. Striking though it may be, it does effectively disqualify the town as a potential Jane Austen filming location, being that it dates from 1865. Also, the numerous bikers bound for Milton Keynes helped to break that particular immersion, but nevertheless, Towcester is a town that knows which side its bread is buttered. Number 3. Next we have what must surely be Northamptonshire's best kept secret, the town of Thrapston. Situated a little under 10 miles from both Kettering and Corby, Thrapston has virtually nothing in common with these former giants of the shoemaking and steel industries respectively. Instead, its history revolved around lighter industries, and was once a staging post on the Cambridge to Birmingham route prior to the arrival of the railways. The parish church of St James is one we can describe at this point as Northamptonshire-esque, which also works as a descriptor for some of the fine stone architecture. The visual appeal of Thrapston's High Street goes some way towards making up for the lack of public transport options, what with only 6 daily buses from Kettering 6 days a week calling here. Number 2. Our runner-up spot goes to a town in the heart of Formula One country, Brackley. Whilst the Silverstone circuit is slightly closer to Towcester than Brackley, and Silverstone itself being a village disqualifies it from this list, it's Brackley that has the arguably stronger connection to F1, what with being the headquarters of Mercedes-AMG Petronas. Aside from the world of motorsport, Brackley is a dead ringer for any number of towns you might find in the Cotswolds, which does stand to reason somewhat, being that it's only about 20 miles outside of its eastern fringe, and also had a similarly prosperous wool trade during the medieval era. The town's high street is among some of the broadest in the country, and is punctuated at its southern end by a fine ashlar stone town hall, dating back to the reign of Queen Anne. So a podium finish for Brackley, but not quite the checkered flag in this case. That instead goes to number 1. At the complete opposite end of the county to Brackley is a town that has to be seen to be believed, Oundle. The first sight to greet you on your approach, at least from the direction of Peterborough, is the 64-metre or 210-foot tall spire of the Church of St. Peter. But Northamptonshire's tallest spire is just the auspicious beginning. The town centre is simply a vision in honey-coloured stone, making for an all the more pleasant experience just browsing the various independent shops. At the northern end of the town is Oundle School, a Tudor-era public school once graced by Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden fame. It's hard to overstate just how well put together this town is. Every building appears as a natural continuation of the next. Heck, even the X4 bus to Peterborough blends in with the stonework. Speaking of transport, I did promise a shocking revelation earlier, and here it is. Not one of the 10 towns you've seen here has a railway station. Not a single one. So in this county of former shoemaking towns, it turns out it's the rail industry that's in fact a load of old cobblers. For now though, we close out on a town that I believe to be not just the finest in Northamptonshire, but on a par with some of the finest in the country. Finally, if you'd like to catch up with other counties covered in the series so far, check out the link on the screen now. Thanks for watching and have a great day.